So they say that throughout your life you will meet random people, and that is, I absolutely agree with that. I think that is very, very true. Um, and I can honestly say I met the most random person out there. I mean, everybody has, everybody has. And have you guys ever heard of this four letters? Votl. You know, well, let me explain. Let me get into detail with this. What a BOTL is. Let's start from the beginning. You know, a couple of years back, while I was working at Wally World, I met my first BOTL. I know what you guys are thinking now. Don't be fucking dirty. That's not what you're fucking thinking. Now, these people are rare creatures. They're rare creatures, and everybody at one point in their life has had one. So so I was hanging out with a group of people. At break at lunchtime, and we're sitting at McDonald's. We're all just hanging out. It was about like four or five of us sitting at a booth, and all of a sudden the topic of chicks and sex came about. I mean, a bunch of guys, right? Who would have thought? And you know, dude had a girlfriend. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I hit that shit last night, whatever, whatever. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. You got some, good job. And then but he dude was like getting into detail about it. He's like, yes, I split her cheeks. And if I got into that shit, yeah, So then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, I like to pay attention to everybody in the group. So I just saw this one random guy who was just fucking, like smiling, like had this like perverted smile on his face. I'm like, well, that's fucking creepy, it's creepy. And it's crazy, because as everybody started telling their own little stories, I got to him, and then all of a sudden, this one dude, he's like, you know what? We need to get you laid. And then all of a sudden it fucking clicked. This dude is a fucking virgin. This dude is a fucking virgin. Like, who would have thought? I was like, yeah. I was like, hey man, how old are you? He looked at me. He's like, I'm 29. I'm like, I tapped him in the shoulder. I was like, so it'll be all right, man. It'll pass. You'll get there. Like, I didn't know what the fuck to tell him. I did not know what the fuck to tell him. And shit's fucking crazy. Like, I got all these thoughts in my head, like, oh my god. He's trying to be like the 40-year-old virgin here. He's almost there. He's got 11 more years. All of a sudden, it's like, so I got curious. I got curious, and I started to ask him questions. I was like, dude, so have you had a girlfriend? He's like, yeah. He's like, actually, for a really, really long time. And I was like, so what happened? I just got curious. I was like, what happened? And he's like, well, one night. Then all of a sudden, everybody got quiet. Everybody got quiet. And everybody tell me got quiet. He's like, one night, we're both kind of drunk. We had a couple of drinks, not much, just a little bit. And and we went back to her place, and we were just chilling. So she goes, so get comfortable. And so dude said, he'd lie in the bed, chill. He was just chilling or whatever. Wasn't really expecting nothing. He was just chilling, right? The chick was a little bit tipsy. The girlfriend was a little bit tipsy. She comes walking in the room from the bathroom. She's like, she starts kissing on the dude or whatever. And she's like, yeah, she started kissing me, and and I started to feel feelings I shouldn't be feeling, and I'm like, why not? You know, in my head, I'm like, why not? You know, why not? And she's like, and you know, he's all like, you know, so everybody got quiet. She's like, and he's all like, and she grabbed my penis. I was like, yeah, I was like, okay, then what happened? What's wrong with that? You know, and then you know, and so he's like, I don't know, man. He's like, I don't know, I don't know. He's like, I got up, I said I couldn't do this, and I walked out of the room, and then you know, I'm like, really? I mean, there's nothing wrong with waiting, but when the puss is right there and the puss is grabbing your penis, how the fuck? Like, oh, you know, like, oh, like what the fuck, you know? And he's like, and I regretted that moment ever since then. I was like, dude, you're crazy. Anyway, yeah, I busted out laughing. I was laughing at the dude or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden he bust out with another story. He bust out with another story. He's like, you know, he's like, so I went. He's like, so I went to Walmart. He's like, get a little quiet again. He's like, so I went to Walmart and yeah, I went to go pick up, went to pick up a few things, and then I saw this lady. She was like, she needed a ride. It was raining outside, you know, and it was really pouring out there, and and so you know, so I thought I'd be a gentleman, you know, and give this lady a ride home. I was like, oh, you know, I thought I was like, you know, that's cool or whatever, you know, it's a really nice thing to do, you know. So then the chick, I just, you know, he goes, well, one thing I didn't know is like the chick was a prostitute, and I was, you know, I was thinking in my head, I was just thinking the worst things, you know, like he's a virgin, you know, he could fucking explode any fucking minute, god damn it. You know what I'm saying? That dude is fucking lock and loaded, ready to go. Ready to bust a nut here, you know? Just thinking in my head, like, oh my god, like, what the fuck? You know, what the fuck? And next thing you know, I'm just like, so what? So I was like, so what you do? He's like, yeah, so I was driving her home and she told me to park here. You know, I was like, well, where's here? It was like behind the Wendy's parking lot. And I'm like, dude, you know that wasn't her home. You know she doesn't live there. You know, he's like, yeah, so I parked there, and she goes, you know, and so all of a sudden she tells me, she's like, pull out your penis. And so I looked at her. He goes, I looked at her. He goes, well, I'm sorry, what? He's like, I acted like I couldn't hear her. And she goes, pull out your penis. And, you know, he's like, he goes, I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't do that. So I can't do that. She goes, why not? She's like, she's like, you're so nice, you're so kind. I just want to blow your penis. He's like, I just want to put it in my mouth. You know, he's like getting into detail about it. I'm like, yeah, I understand. You know, she was a whore. I understand. I feel, you know, I feel where you're coming from. You know, and then anyway, so so anyway, so I dropped her home, and then I left. And I was like, well, where did you end up dropping her off? He's like, oh, I dropped her off behind that bridge. I'm like, I was like, dude, you're crazy, man. Anyway, so next thing you know, he starts talking about. So I was driving away, and he put his head down, closed his eyes. You know, closed his eyes, couldn't look at anybody. He goes, he's like, I turned the car back around. He's like, I made a quick U-E, and she was gone. And I'm like, well, why you can't be, you know, why did you come back around? You said you didn't want to have, you know, you didn't want her to blow you. He's like, he's like, well, I started to feel really horny and I busted a nut. I was like, oh no! I was like, you busted a nut. I was like, that's fucking crazy, dude. I was like, I was like, dude, that's nuts. That's fucking nuts. You know. So that's a joke. You know. So that's a joke. Me and my buddy, me and my buddy Chris. You know, we made a poster, right? We put his picture there, the poster, and we're like, you know, have you seen this virgin? You know, and on the bottom, you know, it had a 1-800 number. You know, like if you see this virgin, please proceed with extreme caution. He's locked, you know, he's locked and loaded. And if you do seem to proceed, proceed at your own risk. You know, and oh man, that's what a BOTL is. It's a virgin on the loose. So if you see one, ladies, and you know if you see one and you do wanna if you do wanna hump him, you know, do him a do him a favor. You know, just think about it like this. You know how they have that logo. You know, ride a horse, save a life. Well, you know, ride a virgin, save a shot. You know, because hey, he's locked and loaded.